This isn't going to be a long video. I've spent the past, well, too long today watching school board meeting recordings and reading through curriculum materials. And there's a word that jumps out at me that I've seen too many times today, and it has triggered my gag reflex at this point. I had to come here and make this video to tell you explicitly, without mincing words, belonging is bullshit. Let me say it again. Belonging is bullshit. First of all, what does that word even mean? We know what it's supposed to mean, that you are part of something outside yourself, a group, a family, church, an office, workplace, whatever, that you sort of are part of that group. Or it could mean ownership, that you belong to someone or something, like if you're a human. And it's not supposed to be literal. You're not chattel. When our schools use the word belonging and they're going to foster a sense of belonging, what I'm hoping is that parents will hear that word and immediately, like knee jerk, see it for what it is: a claiming. A claiming of your child for the collective, that your child belongs to the collective in a very literal sense, that they are not their own, that their life is not their own, and that the sense of belonging they want your child to have is that they are no longer an individual, a sovereign individual with agency and the moral authority, to make decisions about their lives, about their values, their likes and their dislikes, you name it. It is a dark word, belonging. It does not mean what you think. They say it with a smile. They talk to you about how it's going to make your kid feel all warm and fuzzy. But it is not about that. They want your child to feel that your child belongs to the collective and not to themselves, and certainly not to your family. Their first allegiance is to the collective. They belong. And of course, the flip side of that is, while they're busy fostering the sense of belonging, there's a definition of the collective that your child is supposed to feel they belong to. So if they don't, the problem is going to reside with your child. The problem is theirs to fix, not the schools. They're not going to come to your child and say, you don't feel like you belong here because you have different opinions, different views, different value sets, or you just don't want to. You just want to be yourself and not belong to this particular collective. Well, that's a problem. And they'll tell you all the ways that's aberrant and selfish and closed off and possibly indicative of some deep, dark mental illness that you need treatment for, etc. There could be shame, there could be blame, there could be pity, but not acceptance. There will not be tolerance of those who don't want to belong. The presumption is that your child should want to belong. The presumption is you should want your child to belong and fit in. Imagine that. We're going to create a sense of fitting in. If they put it that way, would you be gung-ho about it? My guess is no. I mean, nobody wants their kids to feel left out in a horrible, evil, like, we don't like you, get out way. But weren't we always taught your goal should be to fit in with other people, be yourself, be true to yourself, maintain your personal boundaries? That's for your safety, emotional as well as physical. Weren't we taught that as kids? Didn't we hope to pass it on to our kids? So if somebody comes along and says, we foster a sense of fitting in, Belonging, same thing. I would hope most parents would say, maybe don't do that. Maybe don't do that. Maybe just teach my kid the stuff you're supposed to teach them and let them decide what they want to belong to and not belong to. That decision should reside with them, and you shouldn't work so hard on fostering it. And then people will say, but you don't want them to be excluded from what? Maybe I do. Maybe I do want them to be excluded from things that they shouldn't want to be part of. Should they feel included in groups of people who are doing something you disagree with? No. Sometimes being excluded is a good thing. Sometimes excluding yourself is a good thing. What happened to discernment? Guess that's gone too. So I keep seeing this word to the point where I just had to turn off a school board meeting from Kansas. Kansas. They actually have a director of culture and belonging in the district. As I said, my hope for all of you is that you start to hear that word and recognize what it means. We want to take away your child's individual agency and foster a sense that they cannot function without being part of the group. And in fact, that it's kind of bad, bordering on a sickness if they don't want to. Belonging is bullshit. I said what I said.